Thank you for joining CU Bands and Fans podcast. Our podcast is brought to you by Homegrown KIO. Homegrown KIO is on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. It is a stellar show featuring the great songs that have come from bands originating in Champaign-Urbana. Listen at 107.9 on your FM dial, at 1079wkio.com, or ask Alexa to play WKIO.
KIO Arcola Champaign-Urbana. Classic Hits 1079. Streaming at 1079wkio.com. Or ask Alexa for WKIO.
Hey, it's Terry with CU Bands and Fans podcast, the story behind the musician. Our guest on this podcast is Mike Schoneman and Brandon Pilger. Both are from the band Harlem. Did I say your name wrong?
No.
Did I get it? Brandon, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Back to this. Both are from the band Harlem Hayfield, which is out of Decatur, Illinois. Also, my co-host on the podcast is Zach Whitten. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We're doing good. All right, let's talk about Harlem Hayfield.
All right.
What do you want to know?
We play music.
Yeah, you play damn good music. And the first time that I heard you guys was because you guys were involved in our Stand By Me, which we had several musicians sing one song. And you guys sing your video in of
Yeah, that was fun.
Me Away.
Well, that was a blast.
Thank you.
Oh man, the harmonies and everything were just spectacular. So I was like, yeah, we started following you ever since then. And you guys you've been doing a lot. I mean, I was seeing, I know, was it a year ago you had post of that you guys had went to this house? I'm not sure where it was, but there's a story with that. And
that was in where's that?
Which one was
Watsika.
Was it? Watsika?
Yeah, we every year we will find a place to go and we do like a music retreat. And most of the time, we go to a cabin in Michigan,
Up on a private lake.
Yeah.
By ourselves, isolate.
we stay
Create.
3 or 4 days there, and we
Yeah.
just write music. But every once in a while, we'll find another place to go, and that was an Airbnb. It was an old 100-year-old farmhouse that we found in the middle of nowhere. And the only reason we even took that place is because the nearest house was like 2 miles away, so we wanted to be loud and play music.
The Airbnb host said you can open the windows and be as loud as you want. So we're like, all right, sold.
Yeah. And how long do you guys do? And do you do this every year?
We do it every June. We go to Michigan, and then sometimes we'll
We'll do more than one
do one in
a
the
year,
fall or
every
something.
once in a while.
Yeah, but that's a really good time. Go ahead.
And is it just the band members?
Yeah,
No wives, girlfriends, nothing allowed. No.
So it's just you
crazy.
guys like connecting up and getting some music done and writing
24/7 music.
Music, writing, drinking, grilling.
Yeah, we get out of bed in the morning and we'll make a huge breakfast, and then we'll start writing music for a couple hours. Then we'll take off for lunch, and then we'll write music for a couple more hours. Then we'll go play golf or something, and they'll come back, and then we'll play music or write music until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And by that time, we're usually a little,
Feeling all right.
Yeah, we're feeling good by then. And then kind of stumble inside, pass out, and then get up in the morning, and we do that for 3 or 4 days. It's a blast.
Yeah.
Because I seen your photos. You posted some photos of you guys, you're grilling, like you said, grilling. And it is by some water, I think too. And it just looked like a really cool thing. It'd be kind of cool to document that, but what a cool thing. So like, what kind of music have you come up with out of doing this? Is it really?
We have, for lack of a better term, we have dubbed it Rust Belt Soul, just because we haven't really found a lot of bands that we can tie ourselves to as far as what we sound like. And that's not to toot our own horn. It's just to really kind of drive the point home to people that haven't listened to us yet that we want to give them kind of an idea of what we sound like before they click play on a YouTube video or anything like that. And Rust Belt Soul is kind of the closest thing that we have come up with.
Well, it's good. That's all I know.
And that's all that matters in the long run.
The way you guys just like play together and jam and just gel and function, and the whole thing is just, it's pretty ominous, I think.
You know how that works. You know where that comes from? Honestly, and I'm being honest, this is the truth. Like that whole thing that you're talking about, gelling together and everything, that's because we are all really, really good friends. Like we've been working on other musical things together for years, and I don't mean we've been in a band together. You know, we do a music a camp for kids in the summer. We'll get there, but we've all known each other for a long, long time, and we've all played in other bands together. But we're really good friends. Like we're actually buddies.
We're really good friends, but we can't listen to music together.
No.
Because all of us listen to different styles of music. So you have, when you come together with what our influences are, you have some people that listen to White Snake and old 80s rock stuff, but then you have Dave Matthews, but then you have MXPX and like pop punk bands, and then you have monophonics and neo soul like Erykah Badu. It's all over the place what individually we listen to. So when we have a song that everybody can agree on, it kind of transcends genre, because everybody can agree, like, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, exactly. Who writes? Well, no, okay, before we go there, let me ask you this. How long have you been a band, and how did this band begin?
We started almost a year before the pandy. So we were getting our stuff together, getting ready to play out in 2020, and then everybody wanted to play the world's largest game of cooties, and we couldn't do anything. Sorry, Zach, I didn't mean to choke you out there.
No, I just, yeah, that wasn't it.
So we had all our ducks in a row, and we're like, we're gonna play out all these shows and blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden everybody had to wear masks and stuff, and we couldn't do anything. So we're like, all right, we're just gonna keep writing, and as long as everybody doesn't have a temperature, we'll keep meeting for band practice and mask up and keep writing songs. So
was your intent? Because it blows my mind that you've only been together since 2019.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you,
I used to sing for a cover band called Escaping Neverland, and we were. I took over for a great singer named Ted, but there was something happened in the band. I don't know. I took his place. Large shoes to fill, needless to say. I did the cover band thing. I've done the cover band thing for years and years and years, and I have mad respect for them guys. They are the soundtrack of many people's party nights.
Yes.
But after doing cover bands for about a decade, I got to the point where, well, a lot of us in the band got to the point where the cover band became more about money than fun. You know, it became a business, because that was a large chunk of our livelihood, was how much were we getting paid to play these shows and things like that. And when it becomes your jobby and not your hobby, it loses some of the fun. So Escaping Neverland decided to hang it up, and I was fully intent on doing nothing. And I was going to watch Saturday Night Live and sit at home on a Saturday night and not do anything. And our friend Chris Lorash, who's also in there, Harlem, he called me. He's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I plan on doing nothing. He's like, well, you can't just do nothing. So what do you want to do? I said, if I do any other band, it's going to be original. It's going to be like Tom Waits meets St. Paul and the Broken Bones, kind of weird, original something. He said, okay, I'm going to come over and we're going to play some stuff. So he comes over, we jam a little bit in my living room on the couch. A couple days later, he calls me. He said, we got band practice Tuesday night. Brandon's in, Graham's in, Keenan's in. We're a band now. He's like, oh, okay. I'll be there, I guess. And that was the unexpected birth of Hayfield.
Yeah.
Where'd the name come
The
from?
name. Chris called me. I'm tell you this. Right after we started jamming and writing songs, a couple weeks into it, I was working, and Chris called me and he goes, "Hey, I have the band name." And I was like, "All right, what is it?" He goes, "All right, listen. So we live in a city, so you have to have kind of the metro thing, but then also it's like we live in the middle of the country,
Surrounded by cornfields.
So he said, check this out, Harlem
He
Haystack."
said, Haystack Harlem.
And I said, absolutely not. I said, Harlem Haystack sounds terrible. And then, so we were on the phone and we talked about it for a couple more minutes. And then I was like, not Haystack. It can't be Haystack. I get Harlem because, we're talking about kind of a Motown kind of feel, but then rock, so
Yeah.
Harlem. And we talked for a couple seconds and I told him, I was like, Hayfield's way better than Haystack. And then I said, you know what? That almost sounds like a guy's name, Harlem Hayfield. And so that stuff.
It's a nod. It's a nod to Decatur because there is a lot of underground music in Decatur, original music that doesn't get a lot of chance to play out because there's not a lot of original venues in this town, original music venues. You have the Loft, and if you're big time, and you've got the Lincoln Theater and you've got the Devon and stuff like that, but you got to be big timing for that. So there is a lot of original music that spawned from here. And then one of our influences, even indirectly, would be Curtis Mayfield. So you got Hayfield, Mayfield. Decatur is Harlem in the middle of a hayfield, pretty much. Cornfield, soybean field, whatever. Yeah. It's all the same.
Yeah. It's a sprawling industrial complex in the middle of a cornfield.
It's a nod to Decatur.
Yes, you're exactly right. I do love the name from the get-go. I never imagined that's how the name came up.
We've had just as many compliments on the name as we have the music.
Yeah.
We were just talking to a producer out of New York, and he thought that was Mikey's name. Was Harlem?
Yeah, like a Hootie and the Blowfish situation. He thought I was the Hootie of the Harlem.
I gotta tell you, I thought the same thing.
Well,
I did.
There you go.
I guess I'm Harlem, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, when we became friends or whatever, and I seen your name, and which is another thing. Do you like to be called Mike or Mikey?
Mikey.
I'm Mikey. Mike's my dad.
Okay.
There's Mike Schoneman and Mikey Schoneman.
And he's just as much of a character as I am.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you guys, moving forward, you spent time in 2020 and 2021 doing your own thing, and now you've recorded, haven't you?
Oh yeah,
we did a little EP with Eric Watkins, Studio E here in Decatur.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We wanted to put something out because it's just when you're creating, you want something to live in perpetuity, and the internet is the scrolls of this age.
Yes.
You want to put something down on concrete and put it out on a server that's going to live past all of us. And,
yes. What's the name of that? So what's the first one that you've recorded and put out there?
The first EP we put out was called Strong.
Okay.
And it's a little 6-song EP of just some of the first songs that came out of our little social experiment.
Okay. So, and then we can get this on Spotify?
Everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Deezer, everywhere.
Okay. I think I've added you on our Spotify local playlist.
I hope so.
Well, most certainly. And then you've recorded, but you've recorded more than this, right? Or are you working on that right now?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress right now.
Okay. All right.
We started recording a new album a few months ago, and then we stopped in the middle and thought that we might finish recording at a different studio. So we have 8 or 10 songs that we started at that one, and then we kind of switched gears a little bit, and now we think we might finish that somewhere else.
It's a matter of anything you put on the internet is forever. So you want to make sure that you're absolutely 100% happy with it before it's out there for eternity, and
Yeah.
you have to talk to people about, oh, I love your song. And all you hear is every mistake and problem. Like, I'm glad you like it, but I'm still beating myself up about that song.
Yeah.
But,
so you did half of it at this studio, and then you're in the progress of doing the remainder at another studio.
Well, we recorded all the songs we were going to do for an album, which I think were 10. I can't remember. It was 8 or 10. We did that at a studio locally, Central Illinois. And then we started talking to some people, and we're thinking about now going somewhere else and re-recording some of those songs in addition to, and have 2 or 3 extras as well.
We got to add. We did the recording we've done on the new stuff so far was at Zoe Audio, Indicator.
Yeah.
Fantastic studio. Braun's phenomenal. Get a hold of him. Record your stuff with him. The fact of us potentially moving the songs has nothing to do with his talent whatsoever.
No,
not at all.
No, I wasn't even saying that. Like he does a great job, and the studio is great, and the gear he has is awesome. The knowledge that he has is awesome. He's a great producer.
Fantastic.
We just started switching gears a little bit, and we thought maybe we would kind of go just a hair different direction, and so we're kicking that around right now.
We're finicky, is what it is.
That's nice. I mean, that's good though. That's your total prerogative. I mean, it's your sound. It's what you're putting out there. You said like forever, and the fact that you use the local for your first EP, and then for this first half of the second one,
we're all about local.
Cool. You guys are really supportive of your own local community. That's great.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah.
And Decatur has quite a few, actually, for cover bands and stuff, like you said, quite a few, live music venues.
Decatur is a very cover band centric town.
Yeah.
As far as original music goes, you have the winery, you have the Loft. You have the big time, and you got the Devon and the Lincoln and stuff like that. But as far as bands coming up, original music coming up in the scene, Bourbon Barrel's been doing a lot of original stuff. There's some bars and venues that are giving original artists a shot that
I think Crowbar has been doing a little too.
Yeah,
Crowbar is another good one.
Which, by the way, also when he said the Loft, that's a new place in town that is also Braun from Zoe Audio in the same building. And
wow!
Modern Drugs was just over here.
Yeah, Modern
Drugs. Know that.
Yeah,
we played with Modern Drugs at the Loft not too long ago. That was fantastic shit.
We had you on our event list. I was like, Modern Drugs and these guys. Oh my God. Yeah. Was that last?
Oh my God!
Modern Drugs is awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
Modern Drugs makes me want to go back to staying home on a Saturday night because they're so good.
I tell you what, they're pretty perfect. I will say they are pretty perfect.
And I tell you what, talk to those guys. Like Ryan Groff is such a sweetheart, dude.
Yep.
That dude is just.
Yeah, he's a nice.
Oh my God, he's the sweetest.
And talent just spills out of him. all
I
of it.
know. I love them as much as I hate them, and I'm jealous.
We have this thing here once a year called the Great Cover Up, where people
Right.
bands take on the persona and perform songs by a usually pretty big name band. And one
Yeah.
thing about Ryan Groff that's impressed me is that he will do something completely and totally different every year. It's like
Yeah.
The dude just
they're not
oozes
anywhere
talent.
near even similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
We played a couple shows with him. We played with him at the Loft, and then we went over and played with him at the Rose Bowl. And any time those guys want to play a show together, we're on board. I mean, they're
how
just
does that happen? How did you guys know each other?
That was
We-
Braun.
yeah, we didn't know each other. I helped Braun scout for bands from kind of out of town, from regional area for the Loft. And as soon as I saw Modern Drugs video, I can't remember which video it was, but I messaged Braun. I sent him the YouTube link, and I was like, "Dude, get him here in town. You're the only one that's going to get him here in town. Do it. We'll open for him, or they'll open for us, or I don't care. Make it happen."
We keep talking about Braun. Braun is Braun Sheets. That's the guy that has the Loft. He has Zoe Audio. He is in a band called Set Echo.
Yeah.
Like he's doing all the things. He went and got his was it a bachelor's?
Commercial
He got his
music.
degree from Milliken. He started the studio. He's like a pretty major player in the local music scene.
You have every town has their like local music champions. You know, like I would consider you guys local music champions
Sure.
because you ooze the stuff. You're just about keeping that culture alive. You know,
Yes.
Braun is one of those guys that just wants the scene to thrive and will do whatever's necessary to do it.
Right.
You know, you guys are like that. Or I don't know.
Sounds like we need to connect with him.
You should.
You definitely should.
Yeah, you should
He
do-
would be an excellent podcast.
Yeah, podcast. Like he would talk about all this stuff in way better detail than we can.
That would be great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll definitely connect with him when we get done with this. And I'll also on the podcast, once I publish it, then I post links to your page, to your Spotify, to your music, to your YouTube, just like all of it. So that people can go directly to your link and, you know, follow you and listen to your music and
We've been
all
really trying to get more TikTok followers. So
Are you guys on TikTok, really?
we are on TikTok. Yeah. We're
Are you-
on everything. We're on
right.
everything.
I think I already do. Like, I think I've already subscribed to you on YouTube. I just know, like, when you sent that video of your part of that song, I was like, oh my God. I mean,
love
just
that song.
man, it was great, wasn't it? During that time, it's just perfect.
That was fun.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
it was very fitting for the time we were in.
right.
Yeah, it was. And you know, CI Living had played that several times.
Yeah.
So so that was kind of cool. But so you guys have got so you got new music coming.
Yep.
Just you're in the stages of getting it done. Do you have an idea of when it would be released at all, or at this point you don't know yet?
We're gonna be ominous and say 2023.
All right, fair enough. And do you have any tangible music?
I mean, we've got CDs.
You do?
We've got CDs we keep in the merch bin. We've never went as far as making vinyl just because it's so costly.
Do you know what? It is costly, and that's a shame. Do you know how cool your name and cover would be on a vinyl? That would
Oh,
look
we're gonna have a vinyl. It's just a matter of time.
It takes
Yeah.
it takes 6 months to a year right now. When you press
And
vinyl,
thousands of dollars.
it takes a ton of money. And there's another local band here. Actually, I'm gonna say it right now, but Soy City Stranglers.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just did a record last year, and I think Beans told me it took them a year, was it,
To
get the vinyl back? That's how long it took.
Free Range Youth was another one that came out that had a vinyl record, and it took them 8 or 9 months turnaround. to get their vinyl.
Yeah, it's just taking forever right now.
It just takes a long time, and it's worth it to have something tangible for people to have. People don't just want to stream music on Spotify. They want something to hold, like a souvenir type thing.
Yeah,
And
that's still a thing. But you have merch then.
Yeah, we got CDs and T-shirts and magnets and stickers and all that stuff.
And if somebody wants to buy your merch that's not at a show, but they just want to buy it, like, do they just like hit you guys or hit your page, or
you can on our website? We do have some shirt designs that are online exclusive. So if you go on to harlemhayfield.com and you go to the store section, there are some shirt designs that we don't have at shows. You can only get online.
Okay, what about like CDs? Can I order one from
maybe from Big Cartel? We'll have to check with our keyboard player Hugh. I think they may be on Big Cartel.
Okay, so back to writing your own music and doing your own. Who mostly does the writing? You two, or is it just anybody in the band? Or
I would say like 80% us.
Well, Mikey and I write a lot of the lyrics and arrangements together.
Yeah.
For vocals, even though I'm a guitar player, like we do a lot of that together. He and I use a lot of times the band will have something going on, and then he and I will kind of walk off to the side with a notebook and
figure it out.
Mikey writes a lot. Like he writes poetry every day, posts it every day. So he's got a lot of lyrics. I help with that some. And so as far as vocal arrangements and lyrics go, it's us, but for a lot of it, but like the music part of it, really what happens most of the time is our other guitar player, Chris, he'll come in with a riff, and almost every week he comes in and he'll be like, I got something new. To the point. Check this out, Terry. Listen. To the point. He comes in with so much new material that we can't keep up with it, honestly. And so he'll come in with something new. We'll write something around it, turn it into at least a half a song. We'll record it, and then we'll put it in what we call the boneyard, because we'll have 10 other songs that aren't done yet.
Big old head of his.
And we keep trying to tell him all the time, hey, we got to go back. We have to finish this one from last week or from 3 weeks or from 4 weeks ago. And he just keeps coming with new stuff. And so during the week before practice, we all in the band chat together, like, hey, we're going to come back Wednesday and we're going to finish that one from 2 weeks ago. And that's the plan. And then we get back to practice and he comes in with some new stuff. And you're like, dude, stop doing that. It's great. It sounds great, but stop. But so now we have this other chat that is basically the boneyard of music. And we counted the other day, there was over 40 songs in there that are almost done or half done or whatever. And so very recently we've kind of like gotten a little more strict with it.
We tell them don't post in here.
Yeah, we've decided to go back and start finishing some of these songs because there's so many.
It's a high quality.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just like kind of just spills out of him constantly, and he can't retain it.
To answer the question, I guess, is most of the time, Chris will come with some kind of guitar riff that we build a song around, and that's how a song usually starts happening. And then Graham will jump in on the drums, Keenan will jump in on the bass, Hugh will jump in on keyboards, and to start building it and practice, then he and I kind of sneak off to a corner. We start working on lyrics and stuff, or I might write a guitar piece, and then we'll record it that night when it's new and it's fresh. But then next week, here he comes with a new.
We may not visit it again for 6 months.
Yeah.
So you have
when we went through the boneyard and found,
what you're building on before he's.
There were some. We were going through recording stuff because we're trying to iron out what we're going to be recording in this next stint, and there was some stuff in the recordings that I don't remember us recording.
Yeah, you can't even remember. Like you hear it back.
I hear my voice.
Yeah,
he hears his guitars or percussion. We're like, I have no idea what the hell that is.
You hear it back a month later, and you're like, damn, this is pretty good. I don't remember doing this at all.
Why didn't we
At all.
stop messing with
Why
this?
did we stop writing that?
So then you guys, because one of my questions was, do you get the lyrics first and the music second?
Music
Or
first, always.
Not
music-
always.
The music usually comes first for this band.
Not always.
Most of the time it does. I don't care what he says. Most of the time music comes first. He'll have lyrics, but we're not talking about music. We're talking about lyrics. Like the music will come, he'll put lyrics to it. He may have lyrics
There has been
a few times.
There's been more than once where we're on a weekend drinking, riding excursion, and I will end up waking them up at 6 o'clock in the morning
I'll tell you.
after going to bed at 3 a.m. And I'm like, I think I got something. And they're like,
He did that to me in Michigan. We were in Michigan on one of those songwriting trips, and I don't know why I woke up at 6 because we did go to bed around 3 o'clock. And I woke up, I went downstairs, and Mikey wakes up super early
No rest for the
every
wicked.
day. I go downstairs, I grab a cup of coffee, I go out onto the deck where I think I'm going to be by myself, and he's already out there, and he's got a cup of coffee and a notebook and a pen. And I went out there and I sat down next to him.
I'm like, hey,
I'm getting
check this out.
drinking my coffee, and he goes, listen to this, check this out, I got this melody. And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. No, I'm trying to chill. Like, I just woke up, I don't want to hear any of that. And he was like, I'm just saying, like, just listen to it.
Time to stop.
And I was like, Mikey, don't, please, dude, not yet. But he wouldn't leave me alone about it. And so he starts kind of humming this melody that he had. And then about that time, I could hear Hugh coming downstairs. He's our keyboard player. He was coming downstairs, and so
You passed that ball.
I got up.
You're
and
like, hey, what key is this in?
I went to
play
the
with
door and I hummed it to Hugh, and I was like, what key is that? Hugh gets behind the keyboard. He goes, that's in D. And so then they started messing with it, and we wrote that song by noon that day.
Yeah.
That song was written, and it's one of my favorites
That sun
ever.
was still high in the sky.
I didn't want to hear it that morning, but so that's how it works.
yeah, I was
It's,
going to ask you what's your favorite, that if you had a favorite.
Man, I don't know. Right now, I don't know. My favorite right now, I gotta say, is probably we have a song called Stand Up that we haven't released yet. We recorded it. We're probably gonna re-record it, but that's probably my favorite because there was a live recording of it. We played at Legacy of Giving in Springfield last summer, or the last 2 summers, but the recording from last summer at Legacy of Giving, that song live, that live recording just does something to me. I love that song so much.
I was going to say All You Need,
I love that one too.
which is not released.
It hasn't
yet.
been released yet either.
I swear, anybody that like follows us live will promise that we are slacking on recording and releasing stuff and things like that. And it's not on purpose. We're just trying to be methodical about the stuff and be proper and smart about it. And it's not intentional. We're not trying to hold back on anybody. We're just wanting to do it right because, like I said, it lives in perpetuity on the internet, and you want to make sure you want to clink your drink.
I do. I'm gonna take a drink.
It does take time, and through many of our podcasts, we had one podcast with
I watched the one with Lux, and he's been working on that stuff for years, since before the pandy.
yeah, he's another one. After talking with him, I'm like, you are so patient. But
Yeah, patience.
that being said, we had a podcast with Doug got it. Zach, what was his name? He does the Blackbird.
Oh,
in
Mark
that-
Rubel.
Yeah, Mark Rubel. Mark put so many things in perspective. Because
Mark's an odd bird, and I love that dude. I recorded at his studio at Pogo there, probably 4 times over the years. And
oh man,
when I say he's an odd bird, I say that with love. Like,
right.
I love sitting down talking to him and picking his brain. He is just like the coolest dude ever. And he's so knowledgeable. And honestly, around here, he's a legend.
He is.
To get the position where he's at Blackbird, it's Blackbird, right?
Yeah.
In Nashville.
That's
I
what
mean,
we-
that's saying something. That
And
dude.
he
ahead,
is, and that Pogo studio and all of that has got so much history with the music
Oh,
and chant
yeah.
Urbana.
Yeah.
It's truly just part of our foundation, and a very important part. But he had said, because we were talking about digital music and you got to download it and blah, blah, blah. So we were talking about all that, and he said something pretty important, I thought. He said, he goes, there's a place for this, and it's a good thing, because you have more of a platform and more people can hear your music and, all this stuff. Yeah, I'd have to revert back to the exact words on the podcast. But he goes, but you know what? He goes, it keeps people have got to remember, they've got to kind of excel to that greatness and really put something great out there instead of just, here's my music, throw it up.
I agree with that to a certain extent.
Don't argue with Captain Rat.
No, I'm not gonna. Okay.
Right. But I'm not quoting him that's very vague.
Here's what I have. I have a ton. I'm a student of the game. Okay, as far as digital goes and the music industry nowadays and stuff like that, all I do is study. So when it comes to the new music environment and how original bands get by nowadays and things like that, you're not going to make your nut off of streaming. The only way you're going to get by in this day and age is by creating a culture. That's all you can do. You have to create a culture, and then, as much as I hate to say it, you have to create a culture and then sell merchandise that is centered around that culture.
Okay,
be it t-shirts or hoodies or stickers or magnets or whatever. We are connoisseurs of culture and we're creators of culture. So when Harlem Hayfield comes around and we're pushing Rust Belt Soul, that's a culture that we are trying to cater to. That's what we're trying to curate.
So you're creating a culture of Rust Belt Soul.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the goal. Would you rather sell a $20 t-shirt, or would you rather wait for 20,000 people to pay you 0.002 cents on Spotify to stream your music? I would rather sell one t-shirt and make that equivalent.
Yeah.
We're trying to create that culture.
Yeah. I like that. That makes sense.
It's the only way to get by. If you're going to do this as a jobby and not a hobby, that's the only way to get by.
Yeah.
It's all love, though. That's the truth. Like, when you play original music, especially in Central Illinois, and I've done that off and on in bands for years. Like, I've played in more original bands than I have cover bands for 20 years, and so I'm no stranger to the game on originals. And when you play original music in Central Illinois, you have to understand right away there's no money in it. Not around here. There's not. And so you have to love what you're doing to keep going. Because
labor, love, emphasis on the labor.
You play in a cover band where you're playing weddings and things like that, you might be able to make a couple $1,000s on a weekend or something like that doing that, being in a jukebox for the crowd, which I get. But when you're writing your own stuff in this area, for the most part, there's really not any money in that. And so you have to just love it to keep going and to keep doing it, So creating the culture is, for sure. I mean, like trying to get people interested in what you're doing. Absolutely. But you have to understand from the get-go, if you're writing, that you don't plan on making any money. You know what I mean?
Look at anybody though. Look at cover bands. Look at 90s Daughter. 90s Daughter sells a ton of t-shirts and stuff like that. It's not just what they're getting from the venue. That merch is a major part of that income too.
Right.
I don't care if they're originals on Bandcamp, whatever. That income matters if you're trying to do this and sustain yourself off of it. You have to
Mm.
create a culture more than getting people to stream your stuff on Spotify or Apple Music.
That's a whole different game.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
That's a tough
it's
game.
another, but I mean, we all got day jobs. There's love in it, and if there's not love in it, what are you doing?
And there's love, and you guys have, this great love for each other. You have this brotherhood. You're more than just band members. You're a family, and you're close, and you work together on this music, and you bring music together, and then you record together, and then you go off to these places so that you can just focus on getting things written and new songs and new music. And obviously, it sounds like you can generate some new music pretty rapidly, and which is amazing, because songwriters and original artists are they're a whole unique realm. They're really a unique realm, and you guys function differently than other musicians, say, like, I don't know, cover band musicians. There's a whole different side when it comes to original music, and quite frankly, since we come out of 2020, since we come out of 22, whatever, 2021, 2020, all of that, the music scene has changed. There's been a huge change, and those that were in the forefront and from up to 2019 are now still kind of up there, but the taste in the fans for music has changed. It's
It is, but you can line it up. You can line up the people's taste in music with anything. Like, okay, I'm gonna get. Hope you podcast fans don't mind. I'm gonna get weird. You can line up music and creation stuff with stand-up comedy. You take like stand-up comedy with the 80s, and you had like Pryor and Eddie Murphy and George Carlin and stuff, and there were these huge things. And then you had late 80s, early 90s where it was evening at the Improv bullshit, where somebody wanted to talk about airplane peanuts and stuff like that, and people were just doing it to get by. There was no sustenance to it.
Yeah.
So you can take that with music too, where there was a period of time where there was no sustenance to it, and people were just doing it to get by. And now the true blue music fans are coming out to see true blue musicians.
I think that's well said. I like that. Yeah.
Hey, broken talk is right twice a day. I have coherent thoughts every once in a while.
And what I see recently in the last couple of years, I've seen a growth in kind of a grassroots music scene, like especially in the Midwest. So some would call it the hippie scene or whatever, but like a lot of these festivals that they're putting on,
then people are dedicated though.
You're seeing bands like Aaron Cam and the One Drops. What else? Who else?
Government Mule, like String Cheese,
right? And
all them guys.
And the top of that would
their following is dedicated.
But the top of those would be like Nathaniel Ratliff, or who else?
Yeah,
Monophonic, or Black Pumas.
Right? That would be the top of it, and then somewhere in the middle would be bands like JJ Grey or Adam Ezra, bands like that, who they're doing this thing where they're playing and making a living playing original music that's kind of a almost a jam band, funky, groovy kind of thing. It's like a mashup kind of thing, and these people are carve out a living doing this, and it's bringing up this new kind of what am I trying to say? It's a new culture, right? And so you have like this hippie kind of, I keep saying hippie, that may not be the right word, but like I guess, kind of a grassroots kind of thing that's happening. Where 10 years ago, this wasn't happening. So like electronic music was really popular for a long time. And now you're starting to see this kind of instrumental thing come back. So I keep talking about like JJ Gray or Adam Ezra or Government Mule or fucking,
Adam Ezra. Oh my God. If you haven't heard Adam Ezra,
Hippie Girl, Adam Ezra, or, JJ Gray and
JJ Gray.
Cracker.
JJ Gray is my all-time. There's something about him when I see him,
right?
Melt.
One of my favorites. Another band, Jocelyn and Chris, out of New York.
Fire.
Absolutely amazing. You should check them out if you don't know them. There's tons of bands that are doing this thing, and so they're on this circuit where it's kind of in the middle. So it's not local, it's not national, but it's kind of like big time regional. And these people are carving out a living doing this thing, and it's bringing original music back. Where it was kind of dead for a while. And there's a circuit for it. Check it out. So in the summertime, I do a lot of camping, and so I travel around to some campgrounds, and I'm kind of connected with a group of people who do some of these festivals, and we travel around a little bit, going to some of these things. And so some of these bands that I'm talking about play at these things where 3 or 4 years ago, there might only have been 300 people, but last summer at some of these things, there's 1,500 to 3,000 people at these things. So it's a grassroots thing. It's coming back. It's bringing it back. And I'm excited about that because I hope to be a part of it. That's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Say, yeah, you're right in there with that.
Yeah, we're trying to. We're trying to.
Yeah. And I think you'll get in that flow. And
what's your favorite band, Terry? You put us on the spot. No, we're putting you on the spot.
Nationally?
Yeah.
Nationally? Okay. Well, I'm a 70s girl. So yeah, I love Journey.
Okay.
Okay. Mac. Yeah. But currently JJ Gray and Mofro.
Oh man, I'm with you on that.
One
of my favorites.
Absolutely.
I went to one of his shows at Castle Theater in Bloomington, and I was so lucky to be able to. 2019. It was right before the pandemic.
I remember when they played there.
Yeah, and I mean, I did not take my camera, nothing. When he came out on the stage, I was up in a balcony and I just leaned like this, and I was like, "Don't talk to me. Anybody that's around me, don't talk to me."
I'm in a moment. I'm in a groove. Don't mess with it.
I'm serious. I'm not going to talk to you right now. And I would just be like, and I was just in this zone. Like, and I watch him all the time on YouTube. He's got one video.
So great.
I go to YouTube and I watch it all of the time. And
is it Dirt Floor Cracker, or Orange Blossom?
Yeah, or what? Just all of it.
Terry, do you know Talk, TALK, like capitals?
No.
Runaway to Mars. That song's brand new. This guy just got a deal in the last few months. I have Sirius radio in my truck, and I started hearing it on the alternative station. This song, I thought it was Marcus Mumford at first. It has that kind of folky thing to it. Yeah. I'm telling you, if you like JJ Gray, you need to check out Runaway to Mars from Talk, TALK. This dude looks hilarious. He has got like Kiss makeup and stuff, and he's an amazing songwriter. And this guy is still so fresh right now. You can get on his Facebook page and he'll reply to you. But he's playing.
I love that.
He's playing stadiums. He's getting ready to go on he's going on the road with who is it? Shit. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna waste your time on that, but like pretty heavy hitters.
I'll look him up. Look him up.
Yeah, he's from Canada. But the song Runaway to Mars, I love finding new music that nobody's ever heard of yet. And I'm telling you, you're going to love that one.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Thanks for the heads up on that. Okay, so let's move on now. Unfortunately, we've spent 45 minutes on it. It's not unfortunate. It's great.
It's because we're just bullshit.
You guys are great. There's just a good flow here, and I love it. First gig rock and roll camp for kids.
I hate those
Decatur.
kids. We don't ever want to see them again.
Hey, listen, I think you were the one that you posted this. Listen, there are times when, I mean, we all have this where there's something that you view or something you listen to that just like strikes you to the core, where
Okay.
it just brings up this, emotional upheaval of, oh my God, and then you get so excited about it. That's how I am with music. And when I hear a new song from a local artist, that's just amazing. I want to express that to everybody. I want everybody to listen, everybody to get this feeling that I've got. But so that being said, you posted a video clip, I believe, of you guys outside. You were outside on a break. It was during first gig camp
Yeah.
in Decatur. And one of you, I don't know if it was you or not, but one of you started singing, and then the other one started singing, then the other one started singing, then
Uh,
the
I'm not giving
all
people
just
a
stand-
singing lesson.
I know what you're talking about, Terry. Listen, you're talking about after camp. Now, listen, I post that once a year. That is Andy Moe and me and Mikey, and because Andy Moe used to come to Decatur for ours, and he's in Florida now, but
Yeah.
and Guido and all those
Yeah.
guys would come over to Decatur for our camp.
Harper.
So that what you're talking about is after camp, and that was after the final concert on Saturday. And what we would do after the concert is we would go down to Decatur Brew Works, which is a brewery around here, and then they put picnic tables outside, and everybody would go over there, bring acoustic guitars, and we sit down and drink beers and have sing-alongs and stuff. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I love that video so much that I post it once a year. That video is actually from what, 4 years ago?
Probably.
Something
Yeah,
like
about
that.
2018.
Because Andy moved like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I seen that video and watched it, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. And I was like, this is it. This is why everybody does what they do. This is
Yeah.
Doesn't Andy Moe come in and just kill it at the end?
yes.
Oh.
It's so fantastic that I was like, I shared it, I watched it again. I just watch it, because it really just like got my energizing back.
It's the family, the community of it. Absolutely.
Yes. That's what it was. So first gig rock and roll camp, Decatur.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. How did you guys, and yeah, so doggone it, Mikey. That's right. Mikey is the director. So yeah, how did that start? And
it was probably 2013, I think. I was watching what was happening in First Gig Danville, and I messaged Pete Blackman. I wasn't friends with him on Facebook yet, but I messaged him out of nowhere, and I said, hey, I want to come to Danville and job shadow you with the intention of stealing all your ideas. I want to steal all your ideas, and I'm gonna call the Decatur camp Rock Start, and I'm gonna basically copy everything you do and make some rock stars over here. And surprisingly, he said, sure, great idea. Come on over. So I drove every day. I drove over to Danville because I didn't want to grab a hotel or anything. I drove over to Danville every day with a notepad and my laptop, and I just sat there making notes of everything they did. 2 or 3 days in, I said, we can't duplicate what you do. So what would you think about franchising it out? And he said, now we're talking. So me and Pete got together, and we had all the 90s Daughter guys and Jeff from Max Crush. They came over for a few years and kind of showed all the Decatur musicians the curriculum and the format and all that stuff. And since then we've kind of franchised it out to where we're our own thing. We started at Eisenhower High School. Now we're at Millikan University as part of the
Awesome.
Millikan Community Academics thing, that they have going on. So it used to be the prep department, but now it's something else. But it's just something important to us that the kids are getting something from us that they're not getting on Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and get off the screens. And just like when we were kids, you find kids in your neighborhood that have a bass in the basement or they have drums in the garage, and you just get in the garage and you make noise until something happens.
Yep. Yes.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to fall into rock music, and you're not supposed to be classically trained in Led Zeppelin. You're supposed to just fall into it.
And everybody in Harlem Hayfield is an instructor at First Gig. And we were talking about Bron Sheets.
Yeah.
Everybody in Said Echo is also an instructor.
That's right.
Nice. It's so important. That's such a great program. And we have met several of the kids that come out of First Gig and continue on in music, and they have their own bands and their own, things like that. And they're awesome people. They are, and they're incredible musicians with this. I did notice what the kids that come out of First Gig, so polite, so grateful.
Yeah. That's because
so gracious.
You got to stress the fact that the days of Guns N' Roses tearing up a hotel room, those days are done.
Except for Drew Cagle. Except for Drew Cagle.
Man,
he's all about that.
Drew Cagle will tear up a Motel 6.
He is Guns N' Roses. He was in First Gig, and he was only in First Gig for 1 year, and he was in my band.
Yeah.
And he's definitely Guns N' Roses. So I'm not sure about that one, but the rest
he
of
will
them.
Take those hotel towels.
Yeah.
I did not know that Drew Cagle had come out of First Gig rock and roll camp.
He was in First Gig for 1 year in Decatur.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
He probably doesn't even want us to say that, but
he was already a superstar before he even got
there. Yeah, he came in with the hair and the sunglasses first day. Nobody knew who he was. Other kids have been in for years, and he comes walking in, flipping his hair around with his gun, his sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Who is this kid?"
He was Nighthawk from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. The Nighthawk. That's what we call him.
What a voice he's got, though.
Yeah, he's great, man.
The kid's
He
got
just played the show with him in November. Was it?
Yeah, we played Blackout Wednesday with him.
They came and played with us.
With him and Free Range Youth.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew's doing great, man. He's really doing really
He's
good.
killing it. I'm proud
Yeah,
of that kid.
he got busy, and he just how to focus.
Take that ball and run with it.
He's dedicated.
That's exactly what he did. So you guys, when is it this summer in Decatur?
Should be either the last or second last week of July.
And how long does it last?
We try not to interfere with the Champaign and Danville camps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does it last?
It's a week. It's Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5, and then we do a show on Saturday.
Okay. Where do you generally do your do you do it at the university? Like, because usually, like, these guys end with the kids playing and in front of people and all that. Do you do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We do it. We do a public show at the end of the week. Sometimes we've had it at the Civic Center here in Decatur. We've had it at the Kirkland Fine Arts Center. We've had it at Albert Taylor Theater. It just kind of depends on logistics and what else has been booked in the meantime and things of that nature.
It's such an important. It's so important that you guys do this.
It is. We feel like it is, and it's such an unorthodox style of teaching. It's like you take music school, but it's more of a Montessori kind of style of teaching, where it's more activity based and hands on, and you're going to learn by doing. I've a lot of times I've likened it to the fact of Victor Wooten did a TED talk one time where he talked about when you're learning to speak, where you don't, parents won't take a kid that's struggling with their words and tell them to go away and come back whenever you can talk properly. They'll bend to the language the kid's trying to use. I had a nephew that used to say chalky bach instead of chocolate milk. And his parents didn't say you're not getting any chocolate milk until you can say chocolate milk. They said, we'll get you some chalky bach. Come on, and they'll go get them some chocolate milk. They bend to the kid. So the kids should be playing music to the level they can play at until they're up to par. Don't make them sit on the sidelines until they can play every note and chord.
Or they're not going to learn how to play every note.
That's right. How you learn. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
We developed such a strong bond with these kids. Like, honestly,
dude, he's got first grade kids coming to his house year round.
I have teenagers. Like, I have kids of my own that are of that age, and they've been in the program. And like, I just went to Michigan a couple of weeks ago, and past first gig kids, I've been in for like 8 years. A lot of these kids like have a key to my house now. They're the 20, 25, however old they are. And that's who took care of my animals while I was gone. Like, we really bond with these kids. Like, and now we're seeing a lot of these kids become adults and go to college and start their careers and stuff. And so a lot of it's just like us. Like, when we were kids and playing music and stuff, a lot of us, we call ourselves the tortured artists or the black t-shirt crowd, and so a lot of these kids that are in the program, they're the same. And so we have kind of a bond together that way. And as they get older and they get jobs and go to college and all those things, we stay in touch with them. And there's days or weekends where if my daughter's home, and she was in first gig for 4 or 5 years, if she's home, those first gig kids flock to the house, and there'll be 10 of them at my house.
No sleep.
They'll cook us dinner. They do all the things. So my wife and I, we're kind of like the open house for all these kids, Yeah. And so, we form a really tight bond with them.
Yeah. And we'll have throughout their lives.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. And that is something that is so needed, especially with kids, to know.
Honestly, that's more important than the music.
Yeah.
You look at kids nowadays where their entire lives are lived behind a screen.
Yep.
They don't go associate with kids in their neighborhood. When I was a kid, we rode bikes around, and half the kids around my neighborhood were dirtbags into trouble and all kinds of stuff. But that's the way it was. That's all you knew. There wasn't even AOL chat rooms back then.
We accept everybody, right?
Yeah, it was just the dirtbags around the neighborhood.
First gig brings everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. You come play music with us. It doesn't matter. You cannot know a single note on your instrument. You come play with us. We're going to do it.
It gives these kids a chance to make friends with similar interests instead of just proximity.
And exactly. And to know they're accepted and they're engaging in a human way, not a tech way.
Computer, digital bullshit. Yeah, no.
I think it's so important. And
with someone and share an emotion.
Yeah, and to be just implementing any kind of music in kids and in youth, so that they have this hunger for it or this, and to be introduced to it,
Sure.
Absolutely.
Haven't heard or wouldn't even be aware of if it wasn't for first gig.
Yeah.
What's funny, Terry, is that when my daughter started the first gig, the first year she was going to do it, she wanted to sing, and Mikey and I were friends. This was 5 years ago, and she called me and she said, "Hey, I don't want to do the audition. I just want to sing. I just want to go be in the band. I just want to go sing." And I called Mikey and I was like, "Dude, Sophia is terrified to do the audition." She doesn't want to do it. Can we just get her in? And Mikey goes, nope. And I was like, what? Because I thought I was in with this guy. And he said, nope, she's got to do it.
Got to turn them walls.
I was like, what are you talking about, man? That's my kid. And he goes, nope, I don't care. She's going to do it like everybody else. And that's what we're doing is we're getting kids outside of their comfort zone and making them
the most important thing.
Have these connections with each other. And so my friend right here would not let me do that for my own kid. So she got up there and she worked her way through, really tripped her way through like a happy birthday or something for her audition. It was terrible. I love her.
Now she's a beast.
But now she's a beast. And now she's developed all these friendships over the years. Mikey was right. He was absolutely right.
That is so, and for you to go, nope, she's got to,
He
knew. Yeah. I knew what it needed.
I take a great amount of pleasure in telling people no, like probably more than I should. It's a guilty pleasure.
I think only if you know that the no is necessary to get them to get through.
It's tough love, baby. That's all it is.
Right.
It's also a learning experience. I mean, musicians have to audition. They have to learn how to do that.
I'm an 80s kid. If your parents didn't kick you down the stairs every once in a while, they didn't love you.
Yep. And I'm not an 80s kid, but I'm a 70s and a 60s, late 60s. And
you guys were from that generation too. I already know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it was, you did not get away with the stuff that kids are getting away with. Yeah.
If you were riding your bike until the streetlights came on, we're from the same generation.
Yep, that was it. And it was fantastic. And when we say, well, they missed this or they missed that, they don't miss it because they don't know it.
Right.
Because we lived it. We didn't know what somebody had for dinner, for God's sake, unless we were invited to their house to have dinner. Right. You didn't know what they were doing in their house. But now there's, what everybody's doing and what they're eating and where they're going and it's just something not very special about it.
It's too much.
It's way too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, kids, this is so important what you're doing, because kids were not taught how to engage, and they're certainly not taught how to disengage when things are, ramping up and too much. Disengage, get away from it for a while, learn how to disconnect that. And they're not taught how to engage in personal relationships or, things like, so that's why I think it's very cool that you told him, no, she needs to do this, because you could tell she needed to break down. She didn't need to just slide through under the radar because she was nervous or whatever. This helped build her confidence, I'm sure.
Hey, I don't condone nepotism, even though a lot of my life and career and stuff is based on nepotism, but that don't mean I support it.
Right.
I love this guy.
I do too. He's a riot.
He's the mayor. We call him that.
I've been called the mayor, and I've been called the shaman.
That's the mayor right there.
The mayor.
I kind of like shaman more.
It doesn't matter what he likes. He's actually the mayor because he gets involved in community things. Like, what was the thing? 40 under 40. What is it? Right?
40 under 40.
I was 20 under 40 a couple of years.
He's always in the paper, on the news or something. Like, this dude's, he's the mayor. We call him the mayor because he's always involved.
That's great that you're that community minded and indicator and, bringing these things. That's fantastic. I love it. I love that you said, hey, I'm going to get a hold of this guy. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to watch how they do this. And I'm going to tell them flat out, I'm still in your idea because we need this indicator.
Yeah, that's he did it.
Yeah.
He straight up did it.
God love Pete Blackman for it, because
Pete's a great guy.
Yeah.
Honest to God, Harlem Hayfield wouldn't be a band if it wasn't the first gig.
That's right.
Why is that?
Well, because that's how we all got together.
That's how we got together. Me and Brandon weren't friends until me and him hung out at the Decatur Celebration, and he was like, "Dude, I want to be in first gig." And I was like, "All right, cool. Let's drink limeritas and keg beer all weekend, and then we'll get you into first gig." And then me and him became friends during first gig, and
The
sure
rest
shit,
is history.
a couple of years later, we're in a band together, and
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so if you guys could let me ask you one more question and we're going to close out here. Do you guys, if you could play anywhere, where would that be? Anywhere,
Are you talking?
any stage, anywhere.
In the
You're
world,
talking ideally, not
Yeah.
like,
ideally, yeah.
okay, I'll start it off. We're playing Red Rocks.
He's about to go on a tour.
That'd
We're
be great.
playing the what's the Albert Theater in Europe?
The Albert Hall.
Albert Hall, where Bonamassa played and all them. We're playing there.
I love Red.
We're playing at 30,000 feet on a 747 like Jamiroquai. We're playing Antarctica like Metallica. We're playing everywhere.
Would you want to go on tour?
Hook me up with Bezos. We're playing in space. I don't give a shit.
I'd like to go and be accepted at where's all the Motown stuff, or like in New York, like not Carnegie Hall, but where they did like the Kings of Comedy. You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
I mean, I've seen it.
Man, I would love to be able to go to a place. I'd love to be able to go to any inner city place with tons of culture.
New Orleans.
And yeah, New Orleans would be a good place. Where all the cultures are and everything's mixed up.
Look, give Harlem Hayfield time, and we're going to play everywhere.
I would
So-
love that.
Would you guys would love to tour?
Oh yeah.
Pull a tour. We want to get on the festival circuit because I just love the culture of it. You know, that where music is the focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll play anywhere.
Awesome. All right. Well, on that, I think we'll close this out. It's absolutely been a pleasure, and great conversation. I think it's been a great podcast. So
Hope you don't have to edit too much.
no, I don't. I
feel
can.
like we just I feel like we just sat around a campfire and had like 4 or 5 beers together.
Yeah.
That's what we like. That's
Yeah.
that's how we like to do this.
Yeah.
So informal, and just let the conversation flow, and you guys, be who you are and say what you want, and that's kind of culture we're trying to build.
There you go.
I love it.
That's
I
what's
love
up.
that. That I can't tell you how much that kind of opened just a little bit of my thinking. I think that made a difference with, kind of my attitude a little bit about digital and all of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right, you guys hang in there for a minute.
Culture.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to build a culture too.
Well, we definitely some years ago. I started talking to some music. When you're out and about, you start talking to people, kind of individual. You have these small conversations, which I love so much. That I began to go, wait a minute, these people that are in these cover bands, they also have they do their own music. They have this whole different realm of music that's coming from them. And just through these little conversations, and this person that I met at the Rose Bowl who was singing his own music, I just was like, this is different. There's a whole different level of the soul here going on. The
Yeah.
original artists are different. And so I started to I was so interested in that and so intrigued, I think, that we thought, gosh, let's do an original artist night. And man, the original music that's in this community and around surrounding
There's a
communities
lot.
deep.
Hey, do you know? Hey, Terry, do you know Devin Williams?
I know the name.
You need to go check that guy out.
I'm writing
Devin
it.
Yeah, I
Williams,
see his name all the time. I see his
he's
name
in
all the
Springfield.
time.
Listen, this guy played at my wedding. That's how good he is. We hired him to play at my wedding. This guy plays slide blues guitar. He sings, he writes originals, and I'm telling you, this dude is a virtuoso. You need to check him out and get him on your podcast.
I will.
Devin Williams is
Devin.
Devin, Devin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Devin Williams is the real deal.
Yeah.
I
All right.
I will leave you with this, and you can edit it out or whatever. We talk about the original music coming out of Central Illinois and the region and things of that nature. Anytime creativity is part of the equation, that creativity comes from dark places. It's nobody comes from a picture perfect home feeling creative, or their creativity comes from boredom and destitute and broken homes and all kinds of things like that. And as much as I love Central Illinois, there is plenty of pain in this area. And I'm not saying I don't love it. I love Central Illinois. It's my home. It always has been. It always will be. But there are creative juices flowing through this area. And not just from us, not just from me, not just from Hayfield, but there's a lot of people around this area that have something to say because they may have been dealt a shitty hand just by being born in this region. There's a lot to say in Central Illinois. We just have to keep our ears open.
I agree. And we're going to end right on that because that's perfect.